This also happens to men too. I mean, it's a two-way street. It has happened to me. When I was 16, 17 years old, you know, when we started, there was someone that, you know, we worked with that was inappropriately touching us. And I was even aware then at 16 that this guy was a pedophile and he was touching me oddly, but I didn't feel victimized at the time because I was very aware of it. But it happens to us too.
Did you say anything?
No, I mean, with the guys, we would talk about it. We would kind of joke about it, but it's not a joking thing. But as a kid, I don't know. It was odd. But I'm glad that we were aware of it and we didn't feel victimized at the time. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. President.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
You're used to all this rigmarole.
Yes, I'm telling you. You usually just have a pen and
That's right.
pen. That's it. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
You're the first person who's actually asked me about it. So, you know, I think that Michael Jackson will go down in history as one of our greatest entertainers. I grew up on his music. Still have all his stuff on my iPod. You know, I think that his brilliance as a performer also was paired with a tragic and, you know, in many ways sad personal life. But, you know, I'm glad to see that he is being remembered primarily for the great joy that he brought to a lot of people through his extraordinary gifts as an entertainer.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the time.
I don't think there's any doubt was one of the greatest entertainers of our generation, but perhaps any generation. I think like Elvis, like Sinatra, like the Beatles, he became a core part of our culture. You know, his extraordinary talent and his music was matched with, I think, a big dose of tragedy and difficulty in his private life. And I don't think we can ignore that, but it's important for us to affirm what was best in him.
The president has talked a lot about his love of music. He's hosted Stevie Wonder here. He's talked a great deal about what's on his iPod to Rolling Stone magazine. What was his reaction to the death of Michael Jackson?
I talked to him about it this morning. Look, he said to me that obviously Michael Jackson was a spectacular performer, a music icon. I think everybody remembers hearing his songs, watching him moonwalk on television during Motown's 25th anniversary. I think, but the president also said, you know, look, he had aspects of his life were sad and tragic. His condolences went out to the Jackson family and to fans that mourned his loss.
Why not a written statement then?
Because I just said it.
And you say he sent condolences to the family. Did he call the family personally?
Not that I know of.
That was going to be my question, but you answered it.
Well, we're done, right? You guys really didn't have a bunch of climate change questions either. That was the only. I noticed you guys were a bit shy when the president was standing up there earlier today.
We were shy.
Wondered if you knew if the president had ever met Michael Jackson in person, or if Mrs. Obama had ever met Michael Jackson.
He did not tell me that he had. I can certainly check. I do not believe they have, no.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can I ask a little bit more about Monday's?
Michael.
Not about, I can't. Monday's event, gay and lesbian.
I admit I don't have a whole lot on it, but yes. April?
Robert, back on Michael Jackson. Understanding that many people view him as a complicated mix, you still had other world leaders come out with written statements on Michael Jackson, to include a leader here in the United States, Arnold Schwarzenegger, written statement, Nelson Mandela, others. Why not issue a written statement for a man who has come to this White House, visited other presidents, been honored by other presidents for his humanitarian efforts? He also worked with the Democratic Party, which this president is the head of, helped fundraise. Why not a written statement?
Well, I thought I did a pretty good job.
But it was, at first, yesterday, we were told no statement. Then today, you expected us to ask the president. And now there's...
Well, you guys are the media. I generally expect... April, have you never interrupted me to ask a question?
I have.
I didn't. I was surprised by the... maybe I was just surprised.
But what I'm getting
I've
at...
watched a little cable today.
What I'm getting at is why this way, why now? I mean, you know, we pressed you yesterday, kept asking, and then we were
But I
told,
think we
no,
said
no,
there,
no,
there
no.
wasn't going to be a statement. So, I mean, I asked the president what he thought about it today, and as his spokesman, passed that along to you.
Before there was Barack Obama, before Tiger Woods and Oprah Winfrey, there was Michael Jackson.
The president obviously believes that he was an important and magnificent performer, and obviously he led a sad life in many ways as well. But his impact is undeniable, as you can see on your own airwaves and everywhere. I mean, the reaction has been very, very strong. But the president has written the family and has shared his feelings with the family, and he felt that was the appropriate way to go.
To the country and the world, a young man has left Earth, but now resides in in the stores. And this was a talented, multi-talented person who entertained the world with his dynamic portrayals, his songs that he had written, but his style of dancing. And we think it's appropriate to say that we pay tribute to the culture that he has left behind, his legacy. And I'd like now to ask my colleague, Mr. Jackson, if he would close out, and all those that stand with us, send our condolences, our heartfelt sorrow to his family, his friends, and to his millions of fans throughout the world.
Madam Speaker, if there is a God,
House is not in order.
Madam Speaker, if there is a God, and I believe there is, and that God distributes grace and mercy and talent to all of his children. On August 29, 1958, he visited Gary, Indiana, and touched a young man with an abundance of his blessings. With that gift, that young man, Michael Joe Jackson, would touch and change the world. His heart couldn't get any bigger, and yesterday it arrested. I come to the floor today on behalf of a generation to thank God for letting all of us live in his generation and in his era. And with that, Madam Speaker, we would ask members to please stand for a moment of silence.